All right, folks. So we are live on YouTube. We've got a few more people joining. I'm going to go ahead and mute everybody and share our Siddur for the morning. All right. Hello. Good to see your faces. Good to just be with folks this Shabbat morning. Moda ani, we are grateful to the source of life for imbuing us with life and just letting us be, letting us gather in community. Moda ani For those wearing a talis this morning, I invite you to join for our blessing. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehitatef b'tzitzit. Amen. So one of the images that I love of the talit is, you know, yes, our blessings talk specifically, lehitatef b'tzitzit, so our tzitzit, the physical fringes, and our fringes remind us of the mitzvot or the commandments. But our talis has another image as well associated with it. So our talis is also meant to be a physical reminder of the embrace of the divine, something we can actually feel, almost like a hug. So Shekhinah, the part of God that dwells with us, our talit reminds us that we are embraced. And so if you need just a little extra hug this morning, whether you're wearing a talis or not, if you could use a little love, a little waking up, I want to invite you to just go ahead, give yourself a hug. See how it feels. If you have someone else in your physical space, you can give them a hug. But we can always remember that we, even if we're alone wherever we are, we can always just kind of give ourselves just an extra reminder that we are embraced and held. Ma tovu. How good are your tents, Jacob, your dwelling places, Israel. I really hope at this point that we all like the spaces that we are in, these spaces that we have transformed into holy spaces. Ma tovu, oh alecha yaakov, mishkelotecha Israel. Ma tovu, oh alecha yaakov, just look around your space wherever you are this morning, whatever city, whatever state, whether you're in a house, an apartment, a bungalow. Look around your space and find something that is good, something that is blessing to you. Think about what it is. If it's the light coming in through your window, if it's a plant, if it's a cup of coffee on your table, if it's someone else or something else in your space, find what is good. Oh, we're grateful for all of the good things in our lives and our houses, the things that elevate our spaces and make them a little holier. So we move our attention from the physical space that we occupy to our presence that occupies, that does the occupying. Our physical bodies, however they are, however they're working or not working. I woke up yesterday and my head could not turn that way. And today, miraculously, it works just a little bit better. And so however our physical selves are presenting this morning, we're grateful just to simply be able to be here. And we'll read together our Asher Yitzar. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe. With divine wisdom, you have made our bodies, combining veins, arteries, and vital organs into a finely balanced network. Wondrous maker and sustainer of life, were one of them to fail, how well we are aware we would lack the strength to stand before you. Blessed are you, Adonai, source of our health and strength. Baruch atah Adonai, rofeh chol basar. Moving from our physical bodies to what they contain, our spiritual selves, our souls that were given to us pure. Elohai neshama shenatata bi tehorani. Elohai neshama shenatata bi tehorani. Elohai neshama shenatata bi Hopefully we feel just a little bit more awake, more aware of our space, of ourselves, both our physical selves, our bodies, our spiritual selves, the intention with which we come to this space. I want to invite us just to go ahead, sit up a little straighter, root your feet on the ground if they reach, if that's comfortable, maybe roll your shoulders back. And just take one deep breath to settle into our space, into being awake, into being together this morning. In through the nose, out through the mouth. As we're more awake, we recognize the instruments in our repertoire, whether we have a physical instrument, whether we have a table we want to bang on or something we want to shake to make noise. And finally, just recognizing that the most important thing, the only thing we ever need, Kol HaNeshama, is our soul, is our ability to praise in our unique voice. Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Hopefully we feel a little bit more settled in, a little bit more awake, ready to do the work of prayer. And so I invite us to rise either in body or in spirit, joining together for our Baruch Hu, our call to worship. We'll read together our Yotzer prayer. Praised are you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, creator of light and darkness, who makes peace and fashions all things. In mercy you illumine the world and those who live upon it. In your goodness you daily renew creation. How numerous are your works, Adonai! In wisdom you formed them all, filling the earth with your creatures. Be praised, Adonai, our God, for the excellent work of your hands and for the lights you created. May they glorify you. Shine a new light upon Zion, that we may all swiftly merit its radiance. Praised are you, Adonai, creator of all heavenly lights. Baruch atah Adonai, Yotzer HaMeorot. Continue with our Shema. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai be seated. We join together chanting our V'ahavta. Get a little bit bigger. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levacha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol merdecha v'chayu hadvarim ha'eleh asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha veshinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam v'shivtecha b'veitecha uv'rechtecha v'derech u'shochecha uv'kumecha u'kshartam leot al yadecha v'hayu l'shotavot b'neinecha u'chtavtam al mezuzot beitecha u'v'yesharecha למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות להם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם. And that the eternal truth is that you alone are God and there is none else. Together, may the righteous of all nations rejoice in your love and exult in your justice. Let them beat their swords into plowshares and their spears into pruning hooks. Let nation not lift up sword against nation nor learn war anymore. You shall not hate your brother or your sister in your heart. The stranger that sojourns with you shall be accepted as your equal, for you were strangers in the land of Egypt. Why do you crush my people and oppress the poor, asks God. We know that the Eternal One defends the poor and upholds the rights of the needy. Praise to God Most High. Blessed is God, deserving of blessing. Mi chamocha, our prayer of freedom, going back to the story of the Exodus. The people made it out of Egypt. They crossed to taste their first bits of freedom. Some of them in their entire lives, the first time that they were free. And they sang these words. I want to invite you to think about what is either one experience of freedom that you're feeling grateful for, or one experience of freedom that you're hoping for this Shabbat. Again. Shira Chadasha Shivchu Geulim. With a new song inspired at the shore of the sea, the redeemed sang your praise. In unison, they all offered thanks, acknowledging your sovereignty, and they said, Adonai will reign forever. Rock of Israel, rise in support of Israel and redeem Judah and Israel as you promised. Our Redeemer, Adonai Svaot, is your name. Blessed are you, Adonai, for redeeming Israel. Baruch atah Adonai, Ga'al Yisrael. We rise in body or in spirit for our Amidah. Adonai sefatai tiftach, ufi yagid tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avotinu v'Imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'koneh hakol, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה. מלך עוזר מושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם בעזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי הכל אתה רב והושיע, מוריד הטל, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות ומי דומה לו, מלך ממית ומחיה ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי הכל. נקדש את שמך בעולם, כשם שמקדישים אותו בשמי מרום, ככתוב על יד נביאך, וקרא זה אל זה ואמר, קדוש 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 אדוני צבאות, מלוא כל הארץ כבודו. אדיר אדירנו אדוני אדוננו, מדיר שמך בכל הארץ. ברוך כבוד אדוני ממקומו. אחד הוא אלוהינו, הוא אבינו ומלכנו, הוא מושיענו והוא ישמיענו, ברחמיו לעיני כל חי. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, ימלוך אדוני לעולם. אלוהי ציון לדור ודור. הללויה. לדור ודור נגיד גודלך, ולנצח נצחים קדושתך נקדיש, ושבחך אלוהינו מפינו לא ימוש לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש. Can be seated. Yismechu, those who keep Shabbat shall be delighted by it. Shabbat, we're taught by our rabbis that Shabbat is a little glimpse, a fraction of what it is to experience the world to come a perfect world. We know that we have so much to do to make our world more perfect, that this is the task that we are given as human beings. And on Shabbat, we're supposed to just step back, put the burdens of figuring it all out aside, and just find a little bit of joy in just the existence of this day, joy in our life, joy in our week. Shabbat, Chendat, Yamin, Oto Karat Shabbat, Yislehu, Lemalechutecha, Shomrei, Shomrei, Shomrei Shabbat, Tekore, Onei Shabbat, Zecher Lemase, Lemase Bereshit Shabbat, Zecher Lemase, Lemase Bereshit Shabbat, Yislehu Lemalechutecha, Shomrei, Shomrei, Shomrei Shabbat, Tekore, Onei Shabbat, Yislehu Lemalechutecha, Shomrei, Shomrei, Shomrei Shabbat, Tekore, Onei Shabbat. We take a few moments to think about what it is that we are feeling grateful for this Shabbat. What hoda'ot or acknowledgements, blessings of Thanksgiving that we want to share with one another when we acknowledge the good. Hakarat hatov, we're actually told we're supposed to speak out what is good in our lives, not just keep it to ourselves, because when we share what brings us gratitude, then we can help share that mode of well-being, of Thanksgiving with those around us. So if there is something that you are feeling grateful for this morning, big or small, I would invite you to share it. You can either unmute if you're here on Zoom or share in the chat. Manny.
I'm grateful for all the people that came to give Fran encouragement, that called me on the phone. And Joel, I got your message. You know, I sorry I could get to the phone in time. I thank you for your call. Okay, and everybody else. I'm thankful to all the people in Temple and my other friends, and thankful for Helene for helping me shop. And thank you very much.
And we're feeling grateful that Fran is doing okay, still in pain, but doing okay after a fall this week.
Thank you.
Patricia.
I'm grateful it's summer and I'm enjoying it, and I just take one day at a time and hope that things will get better pretty soon.
Thanks, Patricia.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom. Thanks. Anything else? Anything we're feeling grateful for this morning? I think I see Mary Lou going to unmute. Esther says, grateful for family, friends, community, and arts and crafts projects. Nice. Yeah, Mary Lou.
I'm grateful for this beautiful morning. I'm grateful to be with all of you. I'm for the technology that allows us to all be together. I'm grateful for the garden and the abundance of fruits and vegetables that have popped up this year, and the ability to share with friends and neighbors. And I'm grateful for the support of friends and neighbors for helping me with what I need to do. I'm grateful for you too, Rabbi Pinsky. Thank you so much. I'm grateful for Bashert. Thank you.
Anybody else? Fran.
I'm grateful for pets who have kept us company. As I'm looking at Jane with her parrot, and I have my cat on the floor next to us, and
trying to trip me.
Trying to trip Sam, and I'm sure Helene has her cat nearby, and they've been very good company. I know you have a dog also, Rabbi Pinsky, so they're good company during these crazy times.
He is excuse me, he is resting on my bed, keeping it warm.
I'm grateful that right now my dog is sleeping. We got a new dog bed. I pulled it up next to the table, and so far no interruptions, and that's a beautiful thing. Anybody else, anything we're feeling grateful for this morning? I'm grateful for produce and delicious mango that I got at the grocery store. My favorite fruit, being able to have it. Sometimes just truly the small things. Anybody else, anything you are feeling grateful for?
I believe Esther put something in the chat.
Yes, I read that. So family, friends, community, and arts and crafts. All right, friends. Yeah.
Okay, I'm grateful that my daughter moved into an apartment and her fiance had 2 big brothers and David did all the moving and I just like took down the curtains in the old apartment and that was my whole yes, didn't have to carry anything. I love it.
Amazing. Well, for all of our blessings, we are grateful. Feel free to keep sharing anything that you are feeling grateful for in the chat. Sharing in our gratitude only lifts the spirit of our community together. So now I want to invite us to take a few moments of silent prayer, reflecting on the words of our own hearts. So, friends, we prepare for reading from our Torah portion. So I will go ahead and share our Torah blessings. And I want to invite for our Aliyah this morning, anyone who feels like you have something that we're just going to keep going, something that you are feeling grateful for, any gratitude, whether it's something you named or not. If you are coming to Shabbat this morning, just expressing gratitude for being here or just being together, I'll invite you to join in leading our Aliyah together. And what I want to invite us to do, since we have a small group and we can play a little bit around, I want to invite folks who want to participate in leading our Aliyah on Zoom to go ahead and unmute. It's not going to be perfect, but it is always a blessing when we get to hear each other's voices. And so for that, I want to invite you to go ahead, unmute. We'll do a count off, and whoever is leading will start with the first line together. Baruch Adonai, Baruch Adonai Ambarach Leolam Va'ed. Baruch Adonai Elohim Asher b'Torah ונתן לנו את תורתו, ברוך אדוני התורה. So you'll have to tell me from where I was sitting. I don't think that sounded entirely bad. Did other people hear multiple voices? I think we've discovered something new, that on Zoom, we are making it work and we are bringing all of our voices together. And if that is not a blessing and a miracle for a Shabbos morning, I don't know what is. All right, friends, this week we are reading from the Torah portion, Re'eh, the fourth parsha in the book of Deuteronomy. So we'll begin with a few verses from our text, and then we'll go ahead and orient ourselves with where we are in our year. Amen. Re Anochi noten lifnehem hayom bracha uklala et habracha asher tishmeu el mitzvot Adonai Elohechem asher anochi mitzav etchem hayom והקללה אם לא תשמעו אל מצוות אדוני אלוהיכם וסרתם מן הדרך אשר אנוכי מצווה אתכם היום ללכת אחרי אלוהים אחרים אשר לא ידעתם. והיה כי יביאך אדוני אלוהיך אל הארץ אשר אתה ושמה לרשתה ונתנה את הברכה על הר גריזים ואת הקללה על הר עיבל. All right, and I'll just switch it back for us to our blessing for anyone who wants to join in with the closing words of our blessing. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayim nata v'tocheinu. Baruch Adonai noten haTorah. Amen. So friends, we are in the fourth parsha in the book of Deuteronomy. So our Torah cycle, it really works pretty well with our calendar. We are finishing up. We're in the last book of Torah. It leads us to start over again, coming up in our Chagim. And now we are in a week mentioned in Biyachad this morning, that we are in a special Shabbat this morning, and we are in Shabbat Mivarchim Chodesh Elul, the Shabbat of blessing for the month of Elul. So Rosh Chodesh Elul is beginning tomorrow. And it's a tradition that anytime we enter a new Jewish month, we actually offer blessings for that month that is coming in. And it just so happens that every time on our Jewish calendar, no matter what week in the year, our Shabbat Mevarchim Chodesh Elul, the Shabbat right before Elul, is always lined up with this Torah portion, Parshat Re'eh. Now this Torah portion starts, look, I have set before you bracha uklala, blessing and curse. Of course, we're supposed to want and choose the blessing, and in a version of our God that we find in Deuteronomy, well, of course, how do we find that blessing? We follow God's commandments, right? And then last night, I talked about a tie-in between this parsha and free will, the Israelites' ability to actually take charge of their destinies in this new life that they were embracing. And I want to build on that a little bit this morning as we enter a new month of Elul. We're entering into this time where we're starting to focus intentionally or more intentionally about the upcoming high holidays, right? So in Judaism, we have a lot of different New Years. Does anyone actually know how many New Years do we have in our Jewish calendar? Mary Lou.
We have 4.
We have 4 New Years in our Jewish calendar. Okay, so Rosh Hashanah, the head of the year, the birth of the world, it celebrating creation. What are some of those other New Years, folks? Anybody? What other holidays could be considered New Year's? Yeah, Fran.
Passover, I think.
Passover, right? Chag HaAviv, the holiday of spring, rebirth, new life. Yes. We have 2 more. So one I kind of alluded to when we start reading Torah over. We have a new year for Torah.
Simchat Torah.
Simchat Torah. You're doing great. This is not a pop quiz. We're going with this beautifully. All right. Tu B'Shvat, a new year for the trees. Exactly. Okay. All right. So Simchat Torah is kind of it's not really one of those 4. There's actually another that makes it the official 4. Anybody know what that other new year is? This is just fun facts. Okay. So actually it is Rosh Hashanah lebehemot, the new year for the beasts, or the days when the animals would be tithed. They're kind of a new year for thinking about our animals. Not as relevant, but guess what? Rosh Hashanah lebehemot is actually in 2 days. Who knew? How beautiful. So if we especially want to get ourselves in the mood for New Year's, thinking about renewal, that 4th elusive New Year that we've admittedly lost track of it. We don't really celebrate that in modern times, but just so we know, one of our Jewish New Years is actually happening in 2 days. There is so much chance for renewal. And even before Rosh Hashanah lebehemot, we have Rosh Chodesh Elul. So not a new year, but a new month. And it is tradition on Rosh Chodesh that we call out and declare that it's a new month. And the tradition used to be in ancient times that there would be people in different cities on different hilltops whose job and whose role it would be to stand atop the mountains where they would have the best view of the skies so that they could see and track the moon. And when there was a new moon, they would declare it and they would have runners to go back to the city and spread this information. A new month is here. Now, beyond just keeping track of time, I'm curious, why do you think this was such an important role in antiquity? Why did we have multiple people? And it wasn't just one. People would be set up all around to make sure that the sightings were consistent so that we really knew when it was a new moon. I'm curious, why do we think that is? What are your guesses? Anybody? I mean, it's foreign to us because not so many of us run out into the wild to greet the moon, right? I don't know if this is a practice for anybody. If so, I think that's beautiful. But one of the reasons that the ancients ran out to greet the new month, I think because the new month is yet another way of marking renewal and new beginnings. Our life exists in a cycle, right? We have New Year's in our secular calendar. We set goals, we plan, we count down, we say, hey, it's a new year, it's a new opportunity for something different. As Jews, we're really tuned in because we say there's 4 chances. There's even more chances for a new year to start off on a clean slate. And if 4 New Years were not enough for you, we have a chance every month to think about the fullness and the circle of our lives and the cycle of our lives and what is going on. That life, we never know how a day, how a week, how a month is going to go. And so we take the opportunity before a new month to stop and reflect and pray that it is a month of blessings. Now we can take this concept and say that we can do this anytime. Right? Some people wake up every day and you can set an intention of how do I want this day to go? What do I want to get out of this day? Judaism builds this in a lot on Shabbat, right? It's our chance to step back and reflect on the week that's passed and the week that's coming up. But sometimes it can be a little bit much to say, hey, let's take a step back and reflect. And so our tradition specifically notes months. This is a nice time, a nice doable period for all of us to have a little bit of a check-in and to see, what do we want? Elul, the rabbis teach, is an acronym, Aleph Lamed Vav Lamed, for the saying from Song of Songs, Shir HaShirim, Ani Lidodi Vidodi Li. I am my beloved's and my beloved is mine. So Elul, one of the inherent messages is that Elul gives us the chance to connect to who we are and to the other relationships in our lives. And Elul asks us to start being accountable first to ourselves. Ani, me, who am I? What is going on? Lidodi, and then we are responsible to those in our lives that we are in relationship with. Our process of tshuva, our process of taking an accounting during Elul, we're supposed to first take an inward accounting, check in, where are we? Then we're supposed to move outwards to the other people in our community who we're in a relationship with, to check in. How are we? How are we in relationship to other people? How are other people in relationship to us? What do we need to do for others? What do others need for us? And then finally, that reflection allows us to connect with the divine. Song of Songs imagines a relationship between the people of Israel and God, so that beloved, in Song of Songs, in its pshat, in its base reading, it's about a loving relationship between people, but the rabbis interpret it as being about our connection to the divine. In this time period, as we enter Elul, we not only think about ourselves and the people around us, but we think about our connection to the source of holiness, to God, that big concept in our lives. Do we feel a spiritual connection? In this year and a half of praying differently, of expanding our boundaries and comfort zones, have we found connection in the same ways? Have we been able to find connection in new ways? If, for some of us, I know for me, as a rabbi even, it's harder to be sitting in a room on Zoom. Yes, I'm in my living room. Yes, I've kind of created this holy space with my Judaica behind me to center me. Yes, I have a cute dog sleeping on the floor, and it is very hard to have to futz with a keyboard and to click buttons and to worry about that. That takes me out of the holiness of prayer. But as I've been focusing more intentionally, one of my kind of intentions for the last month, and especially leading into Elul, is how do I cultivate that spirituality for myself in services where I'm still looking at a computer. I don't like screens. I love our ability to connect. And so that's what I focus on, is to get to hear voices and see faces. And so when I asked for us to join in those Torah blessings, that was just as much me asking to fulfill one of my needs for spiritual connection. So what are some of our own needs? I want to invite you to think about what is one blessing that you want, one blessing either that you want to receive or that you want to give. We all have the choice of whether we want to be in a place of receiving or of giving. We can be in both, but this morning I want to invite you to just pick one, a blessing that you are offering or a blessing that you are hoping for, and then we'll join together in a blessing for our month of Elul. So if folks want to unmute or write in the chat, if we were in Biyachad this morning, some of this thinking might have already come up for us, but a blessing, something that you want to receive or something that you want to offer to others. And you can either unmute or type it in the chat. And I want to invite you to just think about, it's beautiful that we have a lot of elaboration. Think about, how do we sum up that blessing? One word. If you need more, we'll give you a couple more, but try to, one word, a blessing that you are giving or receiving. And you can say, I am giving or I want to receive blank. All right, asking Robert for no disease. Teddy, giving creativity. Tamara, peace of mind. I don't know if that's a giving or a receiving, but yes, Patricia says would like to receive peace of mind. Helene, health, something that we hope to receive. Certainly. Anything else? A blessing, and say if you're giving or if you're desiring of it. Receiving the blessing to just know that it's okay not to be okay. Ellen, thank you. As we enter this month of Elul, I want to invite us to join together in this blessing. I'll read it first in Hebrew, and then we will go ahead, read it in English, and we'll insert some of these blessings that we added into this prayer for the new month that we're creating together. Yehi ratzon sheyitchadesh aleinu chodesh Elul l'tova levracha l'sason u'lesimcha l'shalom ve'achva Reut ve'ahava le'avoda v'tzira parnasa v'chalkala l'shalva hanefesh briut haguf l'chayim shel derech eretz ve'ahavat Torah l'chayim sheyimlo bam mishalot livno levenu l'tova ken yehi ratzon. I'll invite us to read this together in English. May the month of Elul be a month of blessing, blessings of goodness, blessings of joy, peace and kindness, friendship and love, creativity, strength, serenity, fulfilling work and dignity, satisfaction, success and sustenance, physical health and radiance. May truth and justice guide our acts and compassion temper our lives. And may we also be blessed with no disease, with peace of mind, with creativity, with health, with knowing it's okay to not be okay, and with freedom. Amen. May all of these blessings come swiftly to our lives as we approach this new month. And now we'll take a moment to turn our thoughts of blessing to blessings of health and healing of mind, body, and spirit, thinking of all of those in our community in need of a little healing, a little comfort. So our Beshert community this morning is offering Misha Berach prayers for Jesse Sakharoff, Ira Weiss, Elaine Drucker, Allison Plummer, Patty Ann Cabarro, Ellen Bolofsky, Rabbi Daryl Lerner, Susan Sisler, Alan Freemer, George Landberg, Susan Bilecki, Dana Haitkin Nelson, Arlene Rosenthal, Michael Luck, Randall Rose, Barbara Weiner, Andy Glantzman, Amy Juskowitz Soonseller, Ira and Deanna Roth, Roz Borenstein, Ingrid Grosso, Audrey Cohen, Eddie DeAngelis, Ira Goldman, Vicky Lightnaker, Sarah Brooks Kamen, Nettie Trommer, Mia Gannon, Jeff Abel, Roz Sullivan, Linda Kushner Silverman, Monica Beyer, Patty and Erwin Cohen, Judge Milton Platt, Thea Platt Glasser, Sandra and Jay Pastor, Mitchell Pastor, Laura Stanley, Roberta Hyreth, Fran Arnowitz, Elaine Sarfati, Richard Zagam, David Mouser, Hannah Paines, Stuart Armstrong, Margot Zitten, Cindy Ratagliata, Gary Papierman, Elliot Drucker, Ted and Albert Galernter, Rosa Gordon, Sarah Braver, Claire Semmel, James Scarpula, Norman Steinberg, Kennedy O'Brien, Myron Jacobson. I'll also read those names shared in our chat and then invite folks who would like to speak names out loud to unmute. Also sending thoughts for Ruthua to Rebecca Rothstein, Bambi Polk, Melissa Polk, Pilar Bonilla, Teddy's cousin Trudy, who's recovering from a stroke, Fran and Manny Arnowitz, Jane Berman, Alana Aram, Chanel Camabach, Warren Feliz, Jimmy Jenkins, Joanna Marie, Teresa O'Sullivan, Abraham Khaleesi, the people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines Island, women in Jamaica, Guyana, Israel, and India, and right here in the USA. Also, Linda Feller. If there's anyone who would like to speak names aloud, I would invite you to do so. Jane.
Florence Schoen and Cynthia Wilson. Thank you.
Well, for all of those in need of healing.
Rabbi Pinsky, it's Beverly with Patty Ann. I'd like to say hi. Susie Berkowitz, Jamie Rich, James Edward Scarpula, and Sarah Braver.
Thank you. We'll join together words of Misha Berach. Misha Berach. Avotenu Mekor Abracha Leimotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Misha Berach Imotenu Mikor HaBracha Le'avotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shelema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen. We rise, if we're able, for Aleinu Lishabeach. Aleinu Lishabeach. Aleinu, it is upon us, Lishabeach, to praise. There are many things, many demands upon us in our worlds at any time. And one thing that Shabbat brings us back to is an imperative, Lishabeach, to praise, to recognize what is good in our lives, to recognize the holiness in our lives. Aleinu Lishabeach Ladon HaKol, Lateit Girula Liotzer Bereshit, Shehu Notei Shamayim V'Yosed Aretz, U'Moshav Yikaro B'Shamayim Mimal, U'Shchina Tuzo V'Gilchei Meromim, הוא אלוהינו אלוהינו, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא, ונאמר, והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד. Can be seated, and we'll take a few moments for some community announcements. Is there anyone here representing the community who would like to give announcements? I'm also set, but want to make sure to offer. All right, so many things coming up. Of course, we have our regular programs, Torah study continuing Tuesdays at 1. The Honey from the Heart fundraiser is still going on, but Rosh Hashanah is swiftly approaching. We're getting to the month of Elul, so get your honey for your sweet new year. Next weekend, so exciting. We will be having another multi-access service, so a chance to be in the sanctuary wearing masks or be praying on Zoom. For folks on Zoom, you actually now are set up on our Bima, so you are showing up just as big as real life people on a big screen. So just so you know, even if you're not in person, you are in a very prominent space in our sanctuary. And also next week on Saturday. So again, we will have online biyachad Shabbos morning services, and then we get yet another chance to be together outside the synagogue for a talent show. So at 3 p.m., if you have a special talent that you want to share with our community, it's not too late to sign up for our talent show. If you just want to sit by and watch other talented people and bask in the talent that exists in our community, come on over. All right. So the plan is currently to be outside the building under a tent, so we'll have some nice shade, and if inclement weather, we might have to shift to inside, but we'll stay tuned for announcements. Any other community announcements, anything that we should know? Fran?
The holidays are coming up, so if you want to participate in any of the things like the holiday New Year's card, the Golden Book, all those kinds of things, please get your responses into the office to let them know, because the deadline is going to be coming up. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Fran. All right. So,
Rabbi,
yeah,
we did not do Kaddish.
we're doing it next.
Okay,
Aleinu announcements, and then we're going to go into Kaddish.
fine.
Thanks, Helene. That was an announcement for us. Coming up next. All right, so right now we turn our thoughts to those who are no longer with us, loved ones whom we've lost at this time, recently and in seasons past, and I am just making sure that I can get our Kaddish list pulled up to share for us. 1 second so that we can show all the names. All right. So this week we are remembering those our Beshert community has lost in recent days. Suzanne Leknos, Shirley Kofker, Lillian Ridgely, Thomas Marinan, Meg Goldate, Marguerite Romeo, John Young, Isadora Frost, Fred Perlman, Bob Ira Kleinberg, Dorothea Schuring, Peter Brandenberger, Lloyd Ricketts, Ellie Heimlich, Sherry Burns, Terry Singer, Henry Kuhn, Lily Zimmett, Bob Perlman, Ira Berkowitz, Bayumi Muhammad, Amy Zisovic, Mary Holland, Dorothy Webster, Robert Allen Santos Sr., Robert Bonenfant, Barry Strumpf, Judy Epstein, Dorothy Mason, Judy Panzer, Barry Wine, Charlotte Brown, David Schachter, Douglas Maines, Devorah Lewis, Tchia Sapir, Jane Evans, Rabbi Lord Jonathan Sachs, Manny Pastor, Ruth Rubin, Harris Reese, Emerson Berger, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, Caroline McNamara, Marion McGivney, Ronnie Turek, Jay Roseman, and Michaela Schaefer. We also think of those whose yahrzeit is observed this weekend: Masha Beckerowicz, sister-in-law of Rosalind Bialer, Lillian Blumenthal, mother of Jocelyn Josephs, Regina Lerner, sister of Manny Arnowitz, Blanche Mate, aunt of Sarah West, Yehoshua Najman, uncle of Tamara Kerner, Michaela Kane Schaefer, wife of Henry Schaefer, and Jeanette Zaro, aunt of Alan Zaro. For those, I'll invite people to share names in the chat or unmute. So we also have Jeff Gold. Anybody else want to share names? Yeah, Jane.
Arthur Roski, thank you.
For all of those who we remember with love, we join together in words of Kaddish Yatom, rising according to your own custom.
Yitgadal Viktadash.
Yitgadal Vitkadash Shmei Rabbah, Bialma Divarach Yerutei Viamlich Malchutei, B'chayechon Uv'yomechon Uv'chayei Zechol Beit Yisrael, Ba'agala Uv'izman Kariv V'yimru Amen. Yehe Shmei Rabban Varach Le'alam Ulamei Almaya, Yitbarach V'yishtabach V'yitpa'or V'yitromam V'yitnaseh, V'yitadar V'yitaleh V'yitalal Shmei Kudisha B'richu, Le'ela Min Kol Dirchata V'shirata, Tush B'chata V'nechemata Da'amiran V'yalma V'yimru Amen. Yehe Shlama Rabba Min Shemaya, V'chayim Aleinu V'yal Kol Yisrael V'yimru Amen. Osei Shalom Imromav, Hu Ya'aseh Shalom, Aleinu V'yal Kol Yisrael, V'yimru Amen. May the source of peace bring peace to all who mourn and comfort to all who are bereaved, to which we say Amen. I'll invite you, if you want to stay standing for a closing song, you're more than welcome. If you want to sit down, it is whatever feels most comfortable for you in your body right now. So we'll end with these words, Osei Shalom, a melody that I've been bringing these last couple weeks. Elul is a time of uplift. We have work to do, but that work should be sweet and joyous as we approach our new year, new beginnings. And so with that sweetness and energy in mind, we sing these words, Osei Shalom, may the one who makes peace up above bring peace to all of us. Peace, and I would add comfort. Blessing for all of us on this Shabbat of blessing. Yivarecha Adonai v'yishmerecha. May God bless you and keep you. Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'yichunecha. May God be kind and gracious to you. Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. May you feel God's presence, holy presence always, and may you feel peace, shalom, and shlemut, wholeness. May you feel the many blessings of this week of our community and the blessings yet to come in this new month of Elul, which begins tomorrow. Shabbat shalom, everybody. I'm going to go ahead and stop